Okay, what up ladies and gents, are we live? It is your favorite Asian robot right here, hopefully your favorite Darktide partner, the Wok, the People's Champion, and I'm here today to produce my newbie guide for you, okay, for Darktide. Now, for those of you that are new to the game, because the game obviously had its Xbox launch recently, it's on Game Pass, there's a lot of people coming in to try out the skill trees and things like that, and a lot of people having fun with the game right now. But because there are so many new players in, I figured that it's probably best if there is a guide that, contains everything that you need to get started in this game. Now, I'm going to go through this guide relatively quickly, but in as much detail as I can. I'll try and cram all the good stuff into this guide. If there's anything specific that I missed and you want to know about, please leave a comment and I will try and see if I can make a video on that to help you guys out, okay? Starting with point number 1, I'm going to teach you guys about character creation. This is one of the odd questions that I get, but a lot of people are wondering, does my backstory matter? No, it really doesn't. Let's say I'm creating a Psycho right now, okay? Continue. You can choose your backstory of whatever the heck you want. It really does not matter, okay? But if you choose certain backstories or whatever, right, you can alter your, I believe it's voice. I can't remember where it is. Anyway, before we get into that, the first and most important thing about character creation that you need to understand is that the height of your character is permanent, okay? Whatever you select here, you cannot change it later on. Every other bit of your character can be changed later on if you so desire. So once you pick a height, it's permanent. There is a video out there, although it's older, it's still very relevant, that explains to you the differences in having a character that's taller, shorter, whatever, advantages, disadvantages. There is a video out there on it. I just can't remember which one it is. I personally do not give a shit. I play with short characters all the time. I always minimize my height normally, or I'm close to minimum. Why? Because I have played a halfling in almost all D&D games, and I tend to play a short character, gnome, whatever, in most games. All right, so I often pick the short characters. Dwarfs too, I guess.
I've dreamed many.
I should have known the.
It seems
in this
that
case,
no matter how low I set my expectations, it can always get worse. A lifetime spent in the mire, hiding from the
Okay. Once you're done with the voices, right, you can pick whatever voice you want. But basically, your character voice for some characters, i.e. the veteran sharpshooter, you can only select the voice if you are from Cadia. So, for example, you see here, your home planet. Cadia is, gone. It's rubble now. But if you pick Cadia as your origin, you can pick a particular voice for the veteran sharpshooter. It's the intense one. All right, but for the rest, it really doesn't matter. So pick whatever backstory you want, and there's your character created, okay? So that's character creation for you. Once you've picked your character and created your character, you should log into the game, okay? So we've gotten that far. I'm sure I've explained that much to you, okay? So character creation is the first step. Now you've made your character in whatever way, shape, or form you like, and you are going to go through the tutorial, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Eventually, you're going to end up on the Morning Star. The Morning Star is where all the action happens. A lot of the functions unlock on the Morning Star as you progress through the game, so please progress through the game. But the first and most important thing that you are going to encounter is the mission board. All right? The mission board is your happy place. It's your happy place of suffering. Why? Because from this mission board, you can deploy across the planet to all different types of missions, okay? Now, when we talk about the mission board, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my cam for a second. Okay, so how do you get XP? Well, first and foremost, the best way to get XP is to quick play. Why? Quick play gives you a 10 to 20% bonus on pretty much, as far as I know, XP. You get more plasteel, more auto dockets, more diamante. Okay, if you were to select a mission instead, you would get the amount of XP. XP is on the right hand side. Dockets is shown on the left hand side. This is what you'll get if you go through this mission. Having secondary objectives will allow you to get extra auto dockets and XP as long as you complete that mission. However, it should be noted that a secondary objective is not necessarily good because it is worth way more if there is a condition. All right, conditions almost double the amount of auto dockets that you can get and give you like 1.5 times the amount of XP. Are you seeing that? This is a normal heresy mission. This is a heresy mission with high intensity. Okay. Let me see. There's even low intensity does not reward any extra dockets or XP, but it makes the mission much easier. If you are speed running, all right, it can be worth doing low intensity if you happen to encounter it. Okay. Other conditions may give varying amounts. For example, if we were to look at, say, let's take a look at and Maelstrom missions, of course, offer the most, but they have extra tough conditions, all right? So don't do Maelstrom missions unless you're truly ready. Now, let's take a look at this. Low intensity hunting grounds offers, say, 8,925, whereas Ventilation Purge, 10k, and Shock Troop Gauntlet, 11.9. So the condition can drastically affect your dockets, your amount, all that kind of stuff. All right, the low intensity is 7,440, but low intensity with hounds offers a bit more, and Ventilation Purge, which will be like normal intensity, but a bit tougher because of reduced visibility, will offer you more. Okay, so this is what you can do to get more dockets and more XP. Which type of mission should you complete in order to, sorry, pulled that out a little too fast. Which type of mission should you complete in order to level up as quick as possible? Well, there is a video that actually shows this. It is from 10 months ago, but this video explains the general idea behind it. Please don't follow this video now because this video is outdated. But the idea behind it is wherever, like, look at the time cost of your mission. If you can speed run, say, an Uprising mission in 15 minutes, then weigh it against how much you're going to get if you go into a Malice mission after counting your bonuses and everything from quick play. After you count those bonuses, right, then check for yourself and say, okay, so if this is how many missions, if this is how many dockets I'm going to get, right, if this is how much XP I'm going to get in an Uprising mission, all right, and I'm going to take, say, 15 minutes to do it, but I only take 22 minutes to do a Malice mission. If I were to quick play the Malice mission, would I, because sometimes when you quick play, you join a team that's in the middle of a mission, which saves you time, right? If I go into that sort of mission, how much XP can I get? You know, do your calculations and basically you can go with that. But you want my honest advice? I believe that everybody should be, while in the leveling process, first get to level 5 or 10, up to you, because I feel that the first 7 talent points are super crucial, but once you have that, you're good to go. Once you get your first 7 talent points, off you go to Malice. You should be in Malice all the way until you hit about level 24, 25. Some people say they've entered Heresy and Damnation earlier. I do not recommend this. If you are new to these types of games, you are not an expert in dodging and all that, please, please, please play your Heresy once you've got your full talent set up so that you know what you're doing, and then you can start getting a taste of the harder missions, then go to Damnation after that, once you're practiced. If your skill level is not there, don't try it. Okay? Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that. Please don't be silly, all right? Especially if you're playing with randos, this can result in some terrible, terrible situations. Okay? Great. Now that we've covered leveling up, missions, all that kind of stuff, let me do a little bit of showcase for enemy hit points based on the mission level. All right, what you need to understand is that as you go up in difficulty, enemy hit points are going to get crazier and crazier and crazier. Here is a little video that will show you everything you need to know about this, okay? Now, there is no way to test in the meat grinder without mods how much damage an enemy does to you. I know that some people have the mods that can do this, but I choose to follow Fat Shark's policy, and mods are basically third parties, so I don't use them in my own work. Therefore, in the natural meat grinder, Morrow, seriously.
Communication systems are operating at 63.7% efficiency, well above tolerances.
Okay, Hadron, Morrow, are you done? All right, you can get some conversations on the Morningstar as well, but don't worry about that. More importantly, since you cannot officially test how much damage is done to you in the meat grinder, which I really think they should have, FYI, but since you cannot test that, it's okay. What you need to know, most importantly, is how hard are enemies to kill, and just imagine in your mind that the damage is that much and stay safe, okay? All right, let's go through this together. Here's a little video that I shot demonstrating this principle. Okay, play the clip, please. There we are. In Sedition, the Mauler has about 900 hit points, okay? We're going to use this as a baseline to give you guys an example of how it all comes together, okay? In Uprising, the Mauler has about 1,200 hit points, okay? You can see 1,020, and then although it's not very clear, it's 180, so a total of 1,200. Malice level, the Mauler has 1,500. I will restate these numbers soon, but there you go. 480 plus 1,020, 1,500. Heresy, 1,800. Okay, I happen to get a lucky shot that dealt 1,800 at the start. Okay, in Damnation, this jumps again, and they have 2,400 hit points. Why did they do this? Because they had to adjust values at the highest level of gameplay to compensate for the fact that we're all walking gods at that point, all right? So that is basically what it looks like with enemy hit points. Now, what you need to understand is that if you put these numbers together, okay, in the first difficulty level, Sedition, enemies have 900 hit points. Their hit points increase by about 33%. You can expect their damage to increase by about the same factor. So in Uprising, second difficulty, 1,200 hit points. Just using the Mauler as an example. You can actually test the individual hit points of every single enemy in the meat grinder if you're interested, okay? And from 1,200, it goes to Malice, which is another 33% increase from the base of 900. They have a total of 1,500. They are 66% stronger. You can expect their damage to be roughly the same. But of course, I'm pretty sure somebody out there has actually done the testing. If you can find a video on it that explains the differences in their damage, you can look at that if you really want to. But quite frankly, when you reach the highest level of play, the answer is don't take any damage in the first place, okay? Because you will die very quickly. So just be very careful of that. And that's why don't worry too much about how much damage they're dealing to you. Make sure you are surviving in all situations and avoiding hits by dodging. Later on, we'll go through that, okay? In Heresy, they have 1,800 hit points, which is basically a 100% increase from the base of 900. So 33, 33, 33 adds up to 100, okay? And Damnation is a jump, which is more than any of the other previous difficulty levels. Damnation at 2,400 represents a 166% increase from the base, all right? So expect Damnation to be difficult. This is why for inexperienced players, you have not played this type of game before, please do not hop into Damnation. You are going to screw your team over, you're going to screw everybody else over, okay? Just play the game normally, progress, gain knowledge, gain experience, and when you're ready, go hard into Damnation. You're not going to regret it. Catch streams to learn, okay? I cannot impress that enough. Now that we've gone through all of that stuff, okay, the next thing on the list is how do you improve your shop? Getting your gear as you go through missions is going to be really important.
Your word is my law.
I covered this a little bit in the crafting guide, but basically what you want to look at is the base stats of your weapon. As you progress through the missions, you will start getting Ordo dockets, which you can spend in the shop. The shop is one of the first things you're going to unlock, and it is one of the first things you're going to need. You will get a little cutscene that talks to you about the shop, and even when you open it up for the first time, there's going to be a little bit of a tutorial. But basically speaking, when you go into the shop, what you want to look at is whatever item has the, while you're progressing, by the way, while you're progressing, worry about what item has the highest base rating. Usually you can find this in the blues, all right, but some of the blues are a bit of a lemon, because look at this. This is 339, just as an example. This is 370, which is really good. But if I were to look up here, this is 350. Is actually this heavy last pistol is better than this blue shredder auto pistol. This says 370. This says 350. You know, because the base stats are higher. So when items upgrade in rarity, what they do is they add perks and blessings. Okay, these can not only help you deal more damage against specific types of enemies, i.e. they make your weapon more specialized, but they can confer some useful blessings such as increasing critical rate, things like this. Okay, for more information, please check out my crafting guide, which was released just yesterday. You can take a look on my channel. All right, my crafting guide for new players is right there. It explains a lot of things that you might need to know about the crafting section. This is why I've not included a crafting section in this newbie guide. I really didn't want it to be like super long, all right? So what you need to do, look for items with a high base rating, slap it onto your character, and keep going with that. As you progress through your missions and level up, keep buying higher and higher base rating items. Use them, or maybe you get a mission reward with a high enough base rating. Use that all the way. Once you hit 30, then you can focus on crafting. This is usually the methodology that everybody uses, okay? And we do this because it's much easier to save up your stuff for when you really aren't going to improve your shop anymore. What is the highest base rating in the game? The highest base rating in the game is 380. You cannot get an item higher than that for now. There were some fake screenshots floating around, I believe in the past, of people getting higher than 380. I haven't seen it myself. If you've got video evidence of you being able to purchase one from the shop in an unmodded game, you know, go for it. Show it to me. All right, show it to me. Show it to me, and I will, you know, ask Fat Shark what's going on. Okay? Okay, great. So that covers it for your items and your shop. Improving your shop is important because the items that will first be in your shop are pretty ass. So just keep progressing that way and get better and better gear. because you also find it easier to speedrun missions and get more XP if you do that. Okay? Grand. Now that we've talked about the shop, let's talk about enemy armor types. We are going to go... Now, first and foremost, I'm going to bring my gun psyker along for this one. Okay, why am I bringing my gun psyker along? Because it'll be easier to show you enemy armor types. Now, I've got a whole ass video, while we're loading in, I've got a whole video that shows you every single enemy armor type and where they wear it. But what I want to cover in this newbie guide video, quick and easy, is the fact that every enemy has different armor types, and some enemies wear different armor on different parts of their body. Search up this video if you want to see it in detail. But just to give you a quick example, alright, these guys here are unarmored, but these shirtless ones are infested. Different armor types, okay? They take totally different types of damage. Body is flak armored, head unarmored, alright, for this particular guy. This guy over here though, head flak armored, head flak armored, head flak armored, body also flak armored. Oh, some sections of the body, if you hit the arm, unarmored, right? Hit the main chest, flak armored. Hit the leg, unarmored. You see, enemies have different types of armor on different parts of their body. This guy is unarmored all the way because he's just wearing cloth. Alright? Flak armored on the head, unarmored on the body for this guy. Alright? Mauler. Carapace armored, flak armored. This is one of the biggest differences because some bullets do jack shit to carapace armor. If you happen to see these blue sparks, okay? These blue sparks, you see that? That means that your bullet is doing minimal damage. Okay? Critical hits can penetrate, but you really don't want to be mag dumping on a crusher. Okay? This is usually a bad idea. Now you can sort of, if you go for the weak spot, kill a crusher, say with a Headhunter auto gun, but it's really not recommended. When you have to deal with armored targets, your heavy melee attacks are generally a good idea. Depends on what type of melee weapon you have, but you want to go for it when striking these types of targets. Okay? Bulwarks are a little bit special. Their shield, as a separate part of their body, never takes any damage. And no matter how much you shoot it, it's not going to open up. So how do you deal with bulwarks? You can either get behind them, open them up, or if you can, stagger them in some meaningful way. Damn it, this guy is being so annoying. There we go. If you stagger them or knock them down, they'll be opened up for a while and you can take on their head. Alright? But this shield is a problem. If you strike it enough, they may get knocked back or knock around, but generally, while somebody is annoying the bulwark, or if you've got a brain burst it, or if you've got a heavy plasma gun, shoot through the shield and wipe out their head. Whatever way it is, their back is all unyielding, so you can just stab through them pretty easily. Alright? The Reaper, another example. Flak armor, unyielding. Alright? So just take note of these differences for armor and take note of where you can deal damage, where you can't deal damage. Don't be like a lot of newbies that I see doing shit like this. Okay? Especially when you don't have a build yet, you're not going to do anything to the Crusher. It is going to crush you. And it does some of the highest damage in the game. With this little cinder block hammer, it will just smash through you. So please be very, very careful of that. Okay? Alright, grand. Now that we've talked about enemy armor types and things like that, let me talk about something else. Melee weapon attack patterns. This is another thing that is important for newbies. Every melee weapon has its own unique attack pattern. How do you see the attack pattern? Well, let me remove my camera. When you inspect a weapon, so from your inventory screen, do you see the button down below that says inspect? When you inspect a weapon, they'll have attack chains. Each type of strike in the attack chain has different properties, all right? You can view the attack breakdowns and actually see how much damage they'll do to the weak spot, criticals, all this kind of stuff. Same for your heavy attacks, all right? They will tell you how effective they are against each type of armor. The first heavy attack, for instance, does very little against carapace armor. The first light attack is pretty much the same, but the second heavy attack does a lot more against carapace armor. So you'll basically want to use your heavy combos if you have to get through, if you have to open up a can, or the special action. Now in this case, the special action isn't shown, but you can test it for yourself, like so. Perform the special action. This is what meat grind is for. Bang. There's always a difference for most weapons between the light special, which is fast, and the heavy special, which is slower, but offers more damage, as you can see. Alright? The light special generally doesn't offer as much damage. Okay? Good. Now that you're familiar with these differences and you understand how to see attack patterns, try them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is what my light attack pattern looks like. 1, 2, then 1 again, then 2. This is what my heavy pattern looks like. You can mix and match combos as you please. So 1, and then 2 for a double heavy stab combo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, something like that. But as you notice, the combo chains will repeat. Alright, so just be careful of what you're doing. Progressing one chain progresses the other. So if you use a light attack first, you'll perform the second attack in the heavy chain. Okay? Whereas if you use a heavy first, you'll perform the second attack in a light chain. Okay? So that's how it's supposed to be. Heavy, light. But if you do it too slowly, it won't happen. So, for example, heavy and then light straight away, it performs the side swing. But if you heavy and then you wait, the light attack becomes a stab because your combos reset. Alright? So, your light combo is supposed to be stab. Let it reset first. Stab and then a swing, right? So if you perform it fast enough, stab and then you get a second stab. Or if you perform it fast enough, swing and then another swing, which can be useful for dealing with hordes on this. So like for example, let's say you want a horde clearing type style with Deimos, which is not really known for hordes clear. Well, you can still get some semi-horde clear by doing something like that, but you have to maintain the combo pretty well. Alright, the other way is to just spam, 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 which I do up very often because the Force Swords have unlimited dodges. I'll go through the dodging later, alright? But this is how to determine your melee weapon attack pattern. Knowing your melee weapon attack pattern is very important because by knowing it, you know how you can deal with hordes. Some weapons have better swings that are better suited for hordes. Some weapons are more suited for single target attacks, alright? And now that you understand this, you know, hopefully you'll be able to apply that in the field with whatever build you choose to run. Okay, now here's an explanation of your skill trees. I'll be going through the skill trees in detail for the veteran and zealot a lot later. The Psykers video is already done, but the skill trees are basically what you use to advance your character, give them a lot of passive powers. For instance, you can only move downward in the skill tree and you gain 1 talent point per level that you get. All right. The max level in the game is 30, and you will have 30 points to spend at the end. You can reset freely at no cost any amount of times that you like. You can chop change anywhere, anytime. All right. You cannot do it during a mission, but as long as you're on the Morning Star, you can change your talents freely. In fact, during the loadout selection screen, you can even change your loadouts. All right. Which brings me to something else. Loadouts. These are important. You can have up to 5 loadouts, and each loadout can have its own talent tree. This enables you to change pretty quickly and is pretty useful overall. Okay? It's up to you how you want to do it, but you can change as you please. Okay? Great. Now that you understand this, you know, start crafting your loadouts, and this is why I like having a loadout for every single build. It just makes me stronger as a player. All right? There you go. This is a quick explanation on the skill tree. For more detailed explanations, you can check my build videos. You can also check the overall class tree explanation, which I've only done for Psykers so far because I'm a Psyker main. I start with that and I work on that first, then I work on all the others. Okay? Now, the next thing on my list to talk about is this. The currencies in the game, we've already explained. They are orthodockets, plasteel, and diamantine. However, just for flavor, now this will be in the crafting guide, all right? So I've already talked about it before, but I'm just going to quickly just give you a quick squiz at it, all right? It is covered more in detail in the crafting guide, and when my mission guide comes out, as in I'm not going to teach you how to do every single mission, but I'm going to give you a general mission guide for newbies. It'll be on my sub channel, which will not be filmed today, I think. I may not have the time. Yeah, there's no way I've got the time to film that today. So I'm going to do the newbie guide today, and then another day I'll do a mission guide, which will be on my sub channel, and it will be linked in the description of the video. For now, it'll say coming soon, but when it is out, you'll see the link updated. All right. So if we go to the crafting station,
to maximize the combat potential of your armaments.
Silence, Hadron, we don't care about you. Okay, so orthodockets, plasteel, and diamantine are your 3 main currencies. You can find orthodockets are by completing missions. Plasteel and diamantine are found during missions. And if you pick them up, the whole team gets them. Don't feel like you have to give some to your friend. No, pick up everything you find because the whole team gets it. All right, great. If you want more examples, check out the crafting guide. Okay, that covers it for the currencies in the game that you need to worry about. Aquilas are the premium currency. I'm not really going to talk about that because that's for the cash shop. If you go there, it's fairly straightforward, okay? I don't think anyone needs an explanation on the cash shop. Now, the crafting guide I've already spoken about, but there's something else that I will just quickly cover here. Recycling is the process of removing weapons that you don't need. So let's say that you have a weapon here that you've already gotten the blessing for it. You don't really need the stats on it, like you've got better versions of it. There's a button down the bottom where it says barter item. This will allow you to basically sell the item and it's gone. In exchange, you will get order dockets, which you see on the right hand side there. So when you have stuff that you really don't need and you can't surrender it for a blessing or whatever, like take a look at this one, damage shit, okay, gone. I get order dockets back, which I can then use to purchase more weapons or craft my items or so on and so forth. Basically, that's what the recycling function is for. It is used for that purpose, to get rid of stuff that you don't really need, because you don't want to be walking around with an inventory of billions of weapons out there that you found and, you know, just like hoarding everything. You don't need to do that, okay? Recycle them. Recycle what you don't need. Okay, the Inquisition will thank you. All right, that is it for recycling. Now, Curios, I'm going to talk a little bit about Curios because Curios are an important addition to your character. Curios give your character a specific blessing. So for in this case, it's 3 stamina. This one gives toughness. This one gives max health. These are modifications to your stats that are pretty much important to surviving damnation level runs. They've also got unique perks such as toughness, regeneration speed, combat ability regeneration. It's up to you what you want to have. But it can also provide damage resistance versus specific types of enemies, therefore allowing you to survive even in the most dangerous of situations. All right. So Curios are generally very important, and the best Curios for each build are usually found in the build videos. But where do you actually get your Curios? Curios can be found from the Armory Exchange. All right. You can find them in the shop. Sometimes they'll be sold here. All right. You need to know what is the maximum amount that you can get for each Curio. So for example, although this one is green, it's got 3 max stamina. So it would be like a top tier Curio. I can buy that now, and then I can craft it to upgrade it with all the perks as it goes along. Okay? Your Curios start out as green because that is the basic Curio, and sometimes you'll even find blue Curios. You can also occasionally find Curios as a mission reward instead of a weapon. Alright? And you can also find them in Sire Melk's Requisitorium. This is usually where you'll find a gold Curio, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's better than the ones in the shop. Don't be fooled, because if they've got bad perks and stats, you're better off buying one in the shop and crafting it up to try and get what you want, okay? And in fact, you know, much like with everything else, you can modify the Curios just like you can modify your weapons. Okay, that's it for Curios. I've covered loadouts. Now, let's get into a couple of advanced tricks, okay? I'm going to get into a couple of advanced tricks. We're going to go into the meat grinder again, and we're going to finish out with something that people really want to know. What do different weapon models do? Okay, originally I was actually just going to finish out after the advanced trick section, but everybody and their grandmother has been asking me about, hey, what does this weapon mark mean? Does this weapon mark mean it's better? Hey, is it better if it's a higher mark? The thing is that I think somebody's been spreading a little bit of misinformation that the higher marks are stronger. That is not necessarily the case. They may deal more damage, yes, but they deal more damage for a very good reason. Their fire rates differ. I will go through this in detail at the end of this video, but first, let me quickly do the advanced tricks. Okay, so when it comes to advanced tricks, what you need to know is that dodging is very important in this game. I highly recommend that you, if your dodge and jump are bound together, please do not bind them together. Dodge should be its own key because it is crucial to your movement during matches. You know how you see me slipping and sliding all over the place? That is due to dodging. Now, here's a little advanced trick. If you dodge and then hit the slide and hit the crouch button, you can do a dodge slide. You can do so backwards. If you are in serious situations, you can dodge slide backwards. All right? This can give you a little additional momentum. A dodge moves me like this. All right? But dodge slide gives me a little bit extra. All right? It gives me a little bit extra and assists me in having a slightly lower target profile temporarily. But you do have to, I mean, it's not really worth it except to slide backwards. Some people like to use it for that purpose. I don't. Okay, it's up to you. That being said, you can also dash and slide. This is a very good way of getting around. You probably have seen people sliding all over the place, especially with dueling sword. This is because if you sprint, all right, it eats up all your stamina. Okay, getting from here to the Reaper, all your stamina is gone. But if, say, we were to regenerate all of our stamina, all right, and then we were to slide, okay, watch this. Sliding takes a fraction of the stamina, allowing you to keep going for longer. So once you're in the sprint animation, you can do that. So slide movement is very, very important. Sliding is your favorite thing to do, and it should be your favorite thing to do. Okay, it is a great way to get around fast. Okay, if you really, really need to. And in fact, I think recently they've added an option, funnily enough, to slide. All right, so if you want to just slide, you can actually do that. Let's test it out and see if it works, because I can't even remember if it does, but we'll just make it Y. No, it doesn't really seem to work. So, yeah, okay, I'm just going to leave that unassigned. Okay, if anyone can figure out how to work this, then, you know. Let me restore the default. Oh my lord. Why? Okay. Let's rebind a few things. Blech. Tag button. Oops, sorry. Tag can be bound to primary fire as well. By the way, this is another thing I was going to talk about. Tag can be bound to primary fire so that you can do a little more of an advanced tagging type dealio. All right. Why is tagging very important? Because if you tag an enemy, all right, when I swing my primary weapon, I tag an enemy. This allows you to call out things to your team. All right. And if you bind it to your primary fire, then while you're attacking a creature, you automatically tag it. This can be pretty useful. All right. When you're firing at something and you want your team to know that this thing is pretty evil. All right. This is what helps me quickly discover things at range. And it makes it very easy for my team to understand that, hey, this guy's engaging this. Some people don't like this style, but I leave it up to you to, you know, do whatever you like with this, and you know, adjust it to your own playstyle as long as you are efficiently able to tag enemies and ensure that players know where stuff is. All right, just make sure that players know where stuff is and nobody's gonna bother you. Other than that, you know, that's it. That is literally it. Okay. The rest of the buttons should be fine. Okay, great. So now that I've gone through the tagging, binding, dodging, advanced movement techniques, and all that kind of stuff, there's one thing that Psykers need to understand. It is the concept of Peril. Peril is this mechanic that increases as you use warp powers. So for example, take Scryer's Gaze. This is a warp power. Do you see this meter, this percentage meter that's going up? That is called your Peril meter. What happens when you reach 100 Peril? Well, some abilities will end, but if you launch a warp attack while at 100 Peril, you will go into struggle mode and then explode, dealing damage all around you, and in an actual match, not the meat grinder, you will actually be downed. You will lose a wound and your teammates will have to pick you up. So don't explode. You should know certain actions will cause you to explode. Certain actions don't. For example, let's do this, all right? If I were, the warp attack doesn't increase any peril, okay? Neither does my push attack does. But basically, I can charge up my sword, right? Use a warp attack, charge up the sword, use a warp attack. Now take note, if I charge it up, I go to 100, but using the warp attack doesn't cause me to explode. If I charge it up again at 100, okay, just as an example, I will go into explode mode, see? So knowing what actions actually cause you to explode is very important. If you commit another warp action whenever you're at 100%, you are going to explode no matter what you do, okay? So just as another quick example, let's raise my peril, okay? In this particular case, I'm at 100. If I try to aim with this, it's not committing an action, all right? But, okay, if I were to hit 100 and I were to actually commit the action throwing, I would go and explode. So this is an additional mechanic that you have to be aware of for Psykers, okay? It's important to know about Peril. Don't go over 100. This same mechanic, although it's not Peril, applies to the plasma gun. It's nothing to do with warp power, it's called overheating. Your plasma gun will overheat, explode in your hands, the veteran will go down, all right? As far as I know, only the Psyker with the force staffs and warp powers and the plasma gun have this mechanic. I don't think any other weapon in the game currently has this mechanic, but there may be some others in future. So just be aware of the Peril mechanic, all right? All right, Fine. Now we move on to the very last thing in this video. And I know this was a very long video, but this is the most comprehensive newbie guide that you guys are ever going to get. And it's going to contain every single thing you're going to ever need in Darktide. Everything from A to Z. And I hope I haven't forgotten anything because, yeah, I really hope that I haven't. Okay, now, the last thing that I'm going to go through with you, and I'm going to do this live on this video. Well, live on this video. I'm going to do it without the editing because it is very important that I show you guys the authenticity of this. Okay, we are going to use a very simple style of weapon to compare this. Okay, we're going to use the recon last gun because it's the easiest way to get this comparison going. All right, let me see. I'm going to buy an Acatran Mark 7A recon last gun. Okay, an Acatran Mark 2, which is here, and an Acatran Mark 6 recon last gun. Okay, all right, now we have one of each. Let's talk about this. People believe that the highest mark is the most powerful. To an extent, that is true, but it's also untrue. Okay, in this particular case, let's see, where's the... This is 7, 6, 2. 2's up here. Okay. So the Mark II has 59 damage. All right. The Mark 6 has 58. Higher marks do not necessarily mean more damage. No. Instead, take a look at the fire rate. This is a torrent weapon, ideal for mowing down hordes of enemies controlling large areas of the combat arena with the weight of fire. It's a high capacity weapon as well. All right, but if you were to check the Mark II, okay, as far as I know, it will say, aha, Mark II is still high capacity, but it says rapid fire. Then if you were to check the Mark 7, the Mark 7 features double the damage of the Mark II and Mark 6, okay, and it also counts as rapid fire. But what are the real differences between these weapons? Let's go into the meat grinder, and I'll show you the differences between all these three weapons so you can understand how different weapon models work. Basically, each different weapon mark has a different fire rate, basically, different base damage, and different level of recoil that you have to deal with. This is also very commonly seen with the last guns, the last rifles, right? The Mark 12 is the sharpshooter rifle because it's got high recoil but very high damage. It was originally used by veteran sharpshooters for just constantly snipping headshots at people, things like that, yeah? Then you've got the Mark 4, the MG4. Sorry, it's not Mark, it's MG12. MG4, the MG4, if I'm not wrong, is the rapid fire. Then you've got the MG1A, which is like the in-between. All right, so there's always one option that is rapid fire, one option that is in-between, and one option that is the heavy damage option. Okay, if you have different variants. Some of them don't. Some of them even have like different burst fire rates, things like that. It is important to inspect each weapon and understand what the different models do. Let's start with the Acatran Mark 6D, all right? This one is a torrent weapon. What is a torrent weapon? It sounds like this. All right, it's fairly ammo efficient, but it spams the enemy with gunfire, okay? It doesn't deal much damage on a per hit basis, but it's ideal for controlling hordes. Literally, you pour fire into them and they die. Okay? Now, the other version is the, as I said, the Mark II. The Mark II is the in-between version. Damage-wise, it doesn't really do much more than the Mark VI, but it's got a relatively slower fire rate. It's fairly efficient and is pretty good at controlling the battlefield as well. So this can be more efficient than Mark 6 because you're not really pouring gunfire wastefully, all right? But the damage is around the same. Then last but not least, you've got the Mark 7. The Mark 7, now this is the heavy fire option, okay? Less ammo efficient, but it does more damage. See the slower rate of fire? So this can be used if you are more focused on the damage of the individual shot instead. Okay? The other way that you can tell what each model is for is by looking at the body of the weapon. I'm just going to show you this quick little trick here before we end this video, right? Take note that the Model 7 has a brown body. Brown is the heavy option, okay? Blue is usually for the light option. It's got a blue sheen to the body. And then the green of this one, you see the standard Imperial green? This one is the regular option, the in-between. It's in between the heavy, it's in between the rapid. All right, so when you're inspecting different weapon models, take a look at the Vrax. This Vrax Headhunter autogun has a brown body. It is a heavy option, okay? Usually comes with the most recoil, all that kind of stuff. Agrippina has a green body. It's like a regular option. See? Kind of like that, kind of like that. The color of the body makes a huge difference. Agrippina Infantry Autogun, also green body. If we look at the Columnus, it's got a blue body. Why? Because the Columnus is a rapid-fire torrent weapon. So let's equip that and try it out. See, if you follow this rule and you check the weapon's body, you'll never go wrong. The Columnus is pretty damn fun. I do like it a lot. It can do some good work and be fairly ammo efficient as well. But it has pretty significant damage fall off, so I don't really like using it a lot. But it's okay. It's like a submachine gun. Not very ammo efficient, but it does its job. You know, it does its job fairly well. Okay, so now you understand effectively what each of the weapon models mean. Alright, and we have come to the end of this newbie guide. I know it was long. Congratulations on making it this far. You now know pretty much all you need to get started with this game. Go in, slay heretics. You need any, you got any questions to ask, come and ask them on stream. Leave a comment. It's up to you. Do whatever you please. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you for supporting the Walk, the People's Champion. I hope you guys enjoy this. And if you guys would like to support me even further, other than just liking, sharing, and subscribing, did you know that you can super chat, super thanks, or join as a channel member? If you do so, it allows me to produce more content faster. So do consider it. It helps us out. It helps everybody else out. All right. Contributing to your streamers is a great way to not only get a shout out in every video and have your name known by the whole world, but it's also a great way of thanking your streamer for their work. Okay. October's big wigs are River Archer 124 for it's our top tipper. Top super chatter is Jason Kun. Top super chatter River Archer as well. And let me see. Hadron, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like you're not already listening in to every Vox channel on the Morning Star already.
I'm glad it's during the time that I'm searching for the members list. Alright, our members list. Starting right at the top, we've got Big Chungus at the only fan level. We have Death Donnie 982 at Plus Ultra. We've got Jason Kun, Jerry Fast, Rogue Assassin, and Zach MG at Prestige level. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to all of our honored, cool, and weird bots as well. In fact, for our honored robots, they also get shoutouts. Here's a thank you to Corey Ryu, Bob John Cube, Devin Lashin, Mookie Mocha, Rena, Chase Taylor, Nathan Strong, Lady Neo, Joey Danze, Sayed Assad, Coda CMF, Kami SMH, Conrad C, and Benjamin Savage. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and remember, members get perks. Members get perks on stream. Alright? So do consider it. I'll see you all in the next one, okay? Thank you very much. Have a good day.